Hamilton of Audible Elegant, Cincinnati, Ohio. I have a store located in Montgomery, Old Montgomery, across the street from Montgomery Cyclery. We have a website, audibleelegance.com. I write a monthly blog in the web page, which I hope you enjoy. And we do work on Facebook and Instagram. And I encourage you to subscribe. That allows us to improve things, this being one of the things that somebody would like me to improve. Old school, sorry, I'm old. Now, tonight's topic is the elusive Linn Bounce. Now, we used to sell Linn. I don't sell it anymore, but I work on some of the Linns. They come through, and I take care of my customers as well. But this is one that proves to be very elusive for a lot of people, and they don't truly understand what the Linn Bounce is. And it's actually multiple things. It's not just one element. So I'm going to break it down into several steps. This is going to be a two-part video. I'm going to explain what should be happening. I've got a table behind me that I've done, so you can actually see the result. And then the next video is going to be suggestions of how to get there. But you have to understand what your target is before you can go into fooling around with things. Now, the Linn Bounce, by the way, we're talking about the LP12, should be accomplished with the tone arm lead disconnected from the tone arm itself. The bounce should be established by that, and when you add the tone arm lead to the bottom of the tone arm, it should not be affecting the bounce. A lot of people think they've got the bounce, and they cheat, but because when they add the tone arm lead, it actually changes how the thing moves. And the problem with that approach is that you run the risk of that lead reshaping in a different form because of the compression of how it's being pulled, as opposed to being in a natural position. Now, the bounce has to be viewed horizontally as well as vertically. Now, on the horizontal, you have the platter sitting on the plinth, okay, top plate. And what should be happening is that the platter is bouncing up and down evenly. You shouldn't have any sort of twisting wobble or anything like that. So it should be moving properly vertically up and down when viewed from the side. Now, one of the tools I also use is not only looking at the arm board, making sure that it's level, you know, front to back, you know, the entire length of the plinth, but also that my distance here between the platter and the stainless steel top plate is equal. One of the things I do when trying to make sure that that's equal is actually use a small Allen wrench. I have, unfortunately, 7,000 different Allen wrenches with 40 years in the industry. So when I get close enough, I can actually put an Allen wrench underneath and start carefully moving around and looking at it, making sure that the platter itself is level to the plinth. Now, of course, the early step is, if you're going to attempt to do the Linn Bounce, you have to be on a level surface. We use stands. We level the stands out first before we start. If you're on an unlevel surface, you're already screwed up. You're not going to accomplish this properly. You may get something, I don't know what. Now, as I also referenced in other videos, the bounce is actually obtainable on a number of Thorn's turntables that actually use the spring system as well. Models a few years ago went over to bent pieces of metal, baking it as they were springs, and you can't tune those things at all. So that's part one. The other part is, as it's bouncing up and down vertically, if you now look at the arm board, you know, the tone arm, again, the plinth coming around, There's the top plate. This should be moving vertically as well. There should be no twisting at any corner of motion. In other words, it's not doing this sort of thing. That's getting the bounce proper. A lot of people can get this happening, but when you look at the top, the arm board itself, you'll see that it's doing this. And that again is not proper. You want it to be straight up and down, not only there, but when you look at it from the top, you're assuring that you're getting proper vertical motion. And this is a way of catching it. Because it's really hard to look at the platter, there's a disc, and see that it's actually twisting. The arm board is your key to get there. Now, if one is going to attempt to do a Linn Bounce, one of the things I also do recommend is to have more than one set of springs handy. I used to have drawers full of the springs. The reason being is that there's an interaction going on between the springs. They're not all identical as much as we'd like to think they are. So you may have what I would call a rogue spring that's causing problems trying to get this maintained. You change the spring and boom, it just locks in. And that's in fact what happened with this turntable. Being 25 years old, I decided to change the grommets because they were dried out. And also, I went with a newer set of springs, and it just locked in dead. It was really amazing. So this is what you want to first look at, is what's happening. Now, how does one look for the bounce? It's quite simple. Platter, pivot of the tune arm, half the distance in on the platter is where you take your finger and dink just lightly to get the platter moving. You have to be sure that you're dinking down, straight, not pushing it, because if you push it, you're going to cause all sorts of things to start wobbling around and settling in again. So you just kind of dink it. So halfway between here and the pivot, the pivot point and the bearing is I'm dinking right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to illuminate this for a moment from both the side as well as the top to show you what happens when they're properly set up. Now this one's a little bit out because it got moved a little bit, but it's not off much. I'd say maybe 5% off. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here we go, folks. We're recording. I'm going to dink it, and what you should notice is that the platter is going up and down evenly. Okay? There's no wobble like this at all. It's nice and clean. Now we're going to take a look at the top side, and this is where most tables where I've seen tuned fail. So here we go again. I'm going to look at this corner. I'm dinking. And you'll notice the platter's still bouncing up and down, but you don't see the arm board moving at all. And that's what you really want to see. Let me put a little brighter light on it. So you can look at the corners and see what's going on. The arm board itself should be level to front to back. And that's what I look for. So if your platter is going up and down, but you see the arm board twisting, wrong. Back to square one, so to speak. So next time I'm going to have this table opened up. I'm going to show you it in a little more detail in terms of arm dressing and what's happening with the springs. So you have a little clearer picture mechanically of what's going on. But in the end, this is the result you're shooting for. Thank you.